Well, welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Thank you for staying with us. We're now being joined by Majeed Dahiru, a newspaper columnist, a public affairs analyst, and someone that has always taken more than a passing interest in the affairs of the People's Democratic Party, Nigeria's main opposition political party. Good morning, and it's great to have you on the morning show.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
Okay, fantastic. So let's get straight into it. The People's Democratic Party has been seen to be struggling with internal division since its national convention in the lead-up even to the 2023 general elections. Some analysts have even described the situation as an outright civil war within the party in recent weeks. In recent weeks, we have seen high-profile defections from the PDP, including that of Senator Ned Nwoko, who was a prominent figure in the South-South geopolitical zone. This trend seems to be growing as we inch closer to the 2027 general elections. Now, as someone who is adverse to PDP matters, why do you think that key party members are leaving at such a crucial moment? Does it suggest a loss of confidence in the party's ability to reclaim power as the opposition party?
People are leaving the PDP because the party is like a sick man, a very sick man that is suffering from multiple organ failure. So from its NWC to NERC, to the BOT, and to the general membership, the PDP seems to be in a very dysfunctional state. And this is not very far-fetched because it was predictable. In the lead-up to the presidential election of 2023, the PDP committed a mortal sin. And you know, the Bible says that the wages of sin is death. And so PDP actually died a slow death, arising from that mortal sin it committed in 2023. And that sin was the PDP's jettisoning of the zoning formula that should have seen the party throw up a southern candidate in the 2027 presidential election. The failure of the PDP to abide by what is part of its own internal working mechanisms and what was in consonance with the feelings in the country then, the national mood, which supported the shift of power from the north to the south after 8 years of the Buhari presidency in the north. The PDP failed to read the tea leaves correctly and decided to sail against the wind. And so as I wrote, even ahead of the presidential election then, that if the PDP were to sail against the wind that was blowing south in 2023 presidential election and went ahead to field a northern candidate, that it will actually run into troubled waters. It will sink and go into oblivion. So the PDP is gradually going into oblivion. With the emergence from that election of a southern presidential candidate. So the PDP is in troubled waters. It is a self-inflicted problem. It is made consciously by the PDP because of its miscalculation. And the consequences of that miscalculation is what you are seeing now. So the PDP is unlikely to recover from it. And like you rightly pointed out, members that are leaving the party is because they do not see any future in the party at all. The ruling party, the APC, is going to actually overrun the southern half of Nigeria eventually, because one of their own is in power. And this was what we tried to warn the PDP against in the 2023 presidential election. And, well, the rest is now history.
All right, Majeed, it's been a while, but good to have you. Your views are, I recall...
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you. I recall vividly, all the analysis that you made towards the 2023 presidential election. And I like, your response to Shaiton's question, which of course sets the tone. But then that's on a general note. If we come down to specifics, some people might argue that PDP has had at least more than 1.5 years to try to, turn things around. But it's not looking like it can work. It's looking like is disintegrating. And of course, one of the key issues that they're now dealing with is the tussle over who is the authentic scribe, general secretary of the party. We see that the BOT, like the governors, have also endorsed Sunday Ude Okoye, as the authentic, general secretary, given what the appeal court ruling was about. But of course, we see that we have also seen what Senator Samuel Anyanwu has done, threatening to take them to court, has written a letter to the Inspector General, to DSS, etc. We saw what happened at the last meeting when thugs were imported, and it became a free-for-all. Do you think that this is yet another example of how badly things have degenerated? And do you think that with the governor speaking with one voice, together with the BOT, that there might be a little chance of survival for the PDP?
Well, I do not see that chance, at least not yet. Even though, no matter how grievous a sin is, if you do the necessary atonement, God in His infinite mercy will definitely forgive you and redeem you. But the PDP is not yet on the path to redemption. More specifically, about the issue of the dispute over the secretaryship of the party, well, since both parties appear to be holding on to something legally to contend for the seat, I think it would be safe to just allow the Supreme Court to make a ruling on who actually is the authentic secretary. And I believe the Supreme Court should be able to do that in the next couple of weeks so that we can put that matter to rest. Now, as to whether the PDP is doing what it needs to do to turn around the situation, again, I do not see that happening. The first thing the PDP should have done after the election was to come to terms to why they lost the election, admit their error of judgment going into that election, and begin to make moves towards remediation. That has not been done. If you recall, in the period of the 2019 election, the PDP held, or rather put together a committee that was chaired by the then Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu. And the party was charged with, way forward out of the defeat of 2015 election. One of the reports of the committee pointed out clearly that the reason why the party lost the 2015 election primarily was because they also violated zoning in 2015. At the time they were supposed to be feeding another candidate, they feeded the southern candidate. And that actually affected the fortunes of the party going to the polls. And that committee recommended that going to 2019 election, there should be a remedy to that error, which is to feed a northern candidate and leave the race open to only northern candidates. The PDP abided by that committee report, and in 2019, it was all a northern affair. And so in the build up to the 2019 election, there was already, an atmosphere within the party that sends a message of, we admit we made an error of judgment by feeding a southern candidate. We are now ready to open the field, for northern compatriots. And you saw the inflow, the defection then from the APC of the likes of Atiku Abubakar, Governor Tambuwal, Saraki and others who had initially left the PDP for the same reason, back to the PDP, which strengthened the party going to the 2019 election. Even though President Muhammadu Buhari was declared the winner, but many people still came out with that impression that the PDP have actually won the election but was rigged out. But it shows you the level of outstanding performance of the party for people to have such an impression. As we speak, those who made this error in the PDP in the 2023 election have not had the decency to admit that at the time that Atiku Abubakar was running in Northerner on the ticket of the PDP, he wasn't supposed to be running. And at the time that the field should have been left open for only Southerners in the party, the northern wing of the party came in and took the party candidacy. They've not admitted this error. They've not, it's like if you commit a sin, you repent, you admit it, you confess your sin, and then you repent of it and make, amends. That has not been done. Those who led the party down this road are still standing their ground, hardening down and doubling down on their error, and are fighting imaginary enemies
Majeed,
who protested this injustice
Majeed,
by supporting
are you referring
so
to
the PDP is still in disarray? Are
you referring by any chance to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the likes of Tambuwa, the likes of Dr. Ayu? Are those the culprits that you are referring to?
Sule Lamido, all of the northern wing of the PDP created this problem for the PDP. And I will say today, if the PDP is a dying party or a dead party, the PDP was killed by the ambition of Atiku Abubakar to president in 2023. At the time, he was supposed to be supporting his own preferred candidate from the south, as we saw in the APC, when the northern flank of the APC fight behind their preferred candidates from the south for the purpose of power shift. You see, if you look at my body of work as a columnist and as an analyst, I am very particular about national integration, national unity, social cohesion, justice, equity, and fairness in all of my commentaries. It's a commentary that runs through. And so the same way some of us felt that, look, after 8 years of a Buhari presidency, especially one that was very divisive, one that was very sectional, one that drove Nigeria down the road to Sudan, it was the last-ditch effort to save Nigeria's national unity was going to power shift to the south. And a lot of us advocated for that, that look, Nigeria cannot accept a long-term presidency back-to-back for 8 years. No. It will create an apartheid system. It will put a glass ceiling on some sections of Nigerians that cannot aspire beyond the number 2 position in their own country. That will not be the kind of country I want to part of. And so we thought that the PDP, whose support base interestingly is in the south, more in the south, should have rewarded that loyal southern base with the tickets of the party. Whether the party was going to win or not, it doesn't matter. Do the right thing and lose, rather than doing the wrong thing as they did and still lose. So the consequence of what PDP did was that they have lost their southern base. They have lost their middle belt base. And the party has not even gained a foothold in the core north. So where is the party in all of this? And those who led the party down this road have not had the decency, again, let me emphasize, to admit this error. And what we see now is that they are coming together to form a coalition against the incumbent, forgetting fundamentally that as we speak, the governors of the PDP, which is supposed to be the life wire of the party, the governors of the PDP, are mostly from the south and the middle belt of this country. And the south and the middle belt are resolute on power shift to the south. So no matter the infighting within the PDP, I can assure you that the bulk of the senators, the rep members, and the governors of the platform of the PDP will support a southern presidency for 8 years rather than opting for another president to trocate a southern presidency midway. That will not happen. So the party is in serious trouble.
Okay, historically, defections in Nigerian politics are often driven by a combination of political survival, personal ambition, and access to power. My first question to you is, do you believe that the current wave of defections from the PDP is purely opportunistic, or does it indicate a much deeper problem within the party's leadership and strategic direction? That's one. Now, the BOT, just like Steve here touched on, the Board of Trustees is often described as the conscience of the party, tasked with providing guidance and stabilizing the party in times of crisis. However, we're seeing critics arguing that it has been largely ineffective in preventing the kind of deep internal divisions that we are witnessing today. Do you believe that the BOT still has the influence and the capacity to steer the party back on track? Or has it become a toothless institution within the PDP's power structure? So the role of the BOT, as well as how they intend to maintain status quo, as it were.
Like you rightly pointed out, ordinarily the BOT is made up of men of integrity, experienced politicians, those that have served the country and the party meritoriously. So they're supposed to serve as, like you rightly pointed out again, the conscience of the party. But unfortunately, the BOT's failure started from when the BOT was not able to redirect the party away from committing political harakiri by filling another candidate in 2023. The BOT, that was the biggest failure of the BOT. The BOT at that time should have insisted that the candidate of the party comes from the south. And now that the error of that judgment, the error of that experimentation has gone wrong, what the BOT should be doing is not to be taking stands with the contending factors within the party. It is to take a broader stand to say, look, how do we remedy the error of 2023? How do we return this party back to reckoning, at least within our own strong base in the south and in the middle belt? How do we begin to cultivate trust once more? Because when the PDP similarly betrayed in the north in 2015 by Philip Southern candidate, they lost what support they had in the north. They have also lost some support in the south. And so the role of the BOT now is to, how do we begin to regain this trust? How do we guide the NWC, the NEC, to begin to regain support and trust of our most solid support base before 2023 election? We don't see that happen. What we've seen is that the BOT has jumped into the fray and appear to have taken side within the contending factions in the party. Now, as to your question about the reasons for defections and access to power, Nigerian politics is devoid of ideology or even intention for good governance. So essentially, there's no difference between the PDP and the APC. Absolutely no difference at all. And that is why, beyond having a strong party that can even go into elections on the status quo, the PDP is also lacking in ideological ingredients and elements that can clearly suggest alternatives to what the APC is doing. It's absolutely not there. So the purpose of the PDP as a party is to grab power for self-service by the various stakeholders within the party. And if they are going to get more of this power and access to power by aligning with the party at the center, it's an incentive to always decamp from the opposition party to the ruling party. And that's what you see happening. It's because there is the politics is devoid of principles, ideology, and that culture of integrity. And you must understand also that the weakest link in the value chain of Nigeria's democracy is the political party system. Ordinarily, the political party system is supposed to be the brain box of our democracy. But, unfortunately, it has become the dumbest part of our democracy. And that in itself is affecting the capacity of our democracy to deliver dividends in terms of improved welfare and security. But that's the story for another day. So the PDP is simply a special purpose vehicle, like any other political party in Nigeria, to grab power for self-service. So when they see clearly, for instance, that the APC is willing to make inroads into their traditional support base of the South and the Middle Belt, well, the most realistic thing to do is to align. Because it will be difficult, for instance, for the PDP to regain the trust of this very important support base that it lost in 2023 election. You saw the way the PDP was defeated in the Southeast, uprooted in the South-South, and largely decimated in the North-Central. So, in fact, in the North-Central, they didn't win a single state at the presidential level. So it tells you how much the PDP has lost ground. And so people are beginning to align with the ruling party in order to continue to be relevant and have access to power, because patronage dispensation is the real reward system for politics in Nigeria to a few friends, acolytes, and associates, not necessarily good governance. So that is the reality of the day.
All right, but in all this that you have said, what strikes me is that you do not seem to acknowledge that there might be external influence in the issues that PDP is currently dealing with, particularly now, and that if there are efforts at all to correct, the mismanagement of the 2023 general elections, as you pointed out, the hands of Esau, as they say, from outside, seems to be a factor in what is happening, to PDP today. We have heard of the case of 50 million naira monthly or something like that, being dished out to many key, stakeholders in the PDP, purportedly, coming from the APC. A lot of people will point accusing fingers at, former Governor Wike, Minister of FCT. That is part of the reason why PDP is struggling and will continue to struggle. And of course, those who know how Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, works, that it is unlikely that he will allow peace to reign, not, in the opposition parties, not just in the PDP, but of course, if you also consider what is happening in the Labour Party. And so my point is that if you say that PDP made a mistake in 2023, are we saying that they are still gullible to the extent that they won't know what to do? Or is it that somebody is teleguiding what is happening? There are rumors in town that the likelihood of 2 PDP governors defecting to APC, is there. It's very rife. People are pointing fingers towards Delta and towards Osun State. If that happens, of course, it means that PDP will deplete from 12 states that they are controlling to about 10, while APC will move to about 23 from 21, leaving 3 to the other opposition parties. And so my point is, even at the best of times, with the best of effort and intention that the PDP may have, with President Tinubu and former Governor Wike there, do you think that they would ever allow peace to reign in the PDP, even if PDP considers working with Peter Obi ultimately towards 2027?
Okay, thank you very much. I think you've asked a question that is very important, and you also provided the solution to the, I think PDP should actually call you this morning and give you some consultancy fee for providing the solution to their problem. No, very importantly. So, now let me deal with the issue of the external influence. You see, the PDP do not even need external influence to express what they're expressing today. I said it because the very man who made this allegation of 50 million naira being dished out to political parties is the very man responsible for the problem in the PDP. And he has refused to admit that much. And I'm talking about former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He has refused to admit the fact that he should not have run on the platform of the PDP in 2023. He is not yet admitting that fact, that it was his error, it was his ambition that has created this problem. And as a background to it, in the 2019 election, this man enjoyed the support of the entire South as a bloc, particularly the Southeast. And they bore the consequence of opposition for 8 years under the Buhari presidency. When it was time for the South, one would have expected that the PDP, that has enjoyed so much support from the Southeast, particularly as the home of one of the 3 big ethnic groups in Nigeria. Don't forget that Nigeria is primarily driven by identity politics of ethnicity and religion. The PDP benefited so much from the ethnic politics of the Igbos of the Southeast as a major driving force, support base for the party. And Atiku particularly enjoyed this support in 2019 to the maximum. One would have expected that by 2023, when there was a national consensus that power should shift to the South, Atiku should have supported a candidate from the Southeast. The same way those who supported Buhari in 2015 from the Southwest, the Tinubus, the Osibajos and others, who supported President Buhari in 2015 from the North to get power back to the North, enjoyed the same support from the northern elements in the APC going to the 2023 election. That was honor. You see, even among bandits, there should be integrity, there should be honor. And so we saw that kind of support in the APC. We didn't see that in the PDP. Rather, the northern flank of the party all poured into the race. And if you look at the structure of Nigeria, it will always confer advantage on the North when it comes to electoral position, because they have more local governments, more states, and more words, electoral words. And so when they came into the race, and 2 Northerners stepped down for each other against a Southerner that was in the race, you don't expect that Southerner, who has previously supported both of them immensely. Look at, what do you call him, former Governor Wike gave the greatest support to Tambuwal in 2019 as a presidential aspirant on the platform of the PDP. You saw what happened in Port Harcourt. Even when calls came in to say, support Atiku instead of Tambuwal, he said, Tambuwal himself steps down, I will support him to the end. And when Tambuwal did not win, and Atiku emerged freely and fairly from a very keenly contested race, Wike went ahead to give enormous support to Atiku as candidate of the PDP. When it was the turn of the South, it was disheartening. It is betrayal that 2 brothers from the North, Hausa-speaking Fulani Muslims, will now step down for each other against this lone man who had given them this kind of support in the past. It is unfair. You don't expect such a man to lie down and swallow it. You can't expect that. And to make matters worse, our other cousin from Benue, Mr. Ayu, came and described Tambuwal as the hero of the convention. What does that tell you? It means the North conspired to deny the South the ticket or the plan of a party that has been supported substantially by the South. I don't understand how kind of miscalculation is that. And afraid to have consequences. And now, Wike has found solace in the support for Asiwaju of the opposition party. In a democracy, anti-party is allowed. But the real anti-party here for me was even the violation of zoning by those who took over the ticket of the party as a time to go to the South. So Atiku and his cohort were the biggest anti-party doers in the 2023 election. Not even Wike. But okay, Wike supported the Southern candidate in the person of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, and has been rewarded adequately. It will be Wike's ambition to see that the PDP never recovers, and it is legitimate within the equation of what we are discussing. Let's not pretend about it, because the party hurt him so much. So it is within his right, it is within his what he can do to keep the PDP busy. He will do it. And I'm saying that those who should have carried out remediation to now nullify the stronghold of Wike within the party by doing something you talked about at the end tail of your question, has not done it. And that is the problem we're facing with the PDP. And if things continue this way, I'll tell you something. In those ones who were predicted to it last time, if things continue this way, without something being done, the PDP might not have a candidate going into the 2027 presidential election. And even if it will have, it will be a very weak one. That will just be a placeholder for the presidential candidate of the APC, which is likely going to be Mr. Ahmed Bola Tinubu. However, there's a way out. And that's why I said the PDP needs to pay you some consultancy fee this morning. You mentioned somebody at the tail end of your question, Mr. Peter Obi. The PDP by now should have set up a committee to admit why they lost the 2023 election, which is the evaluation of zoning formula primarily. And he admitted that they should make a commitment to return power to the South, or rather to return power in the South through a Southern candidate. And the most viable candidate for the PDP, as we still speak, that can make a difference a bit, is Mr. Peter Obi that he talked about. The same way Atiku left the PDP, went to the APC to seek presidential ticket, but didn't get it, but at least contributed to the defeat of the PDP. Obi did the same. They should bring Obi back to the PDP. And the northern flank of the PDP, another northern element that may be disgruntled with President Bola Tinubu, the only way out, the only opportunity, the only chance at all that is available to torpedo the Tinubu administration after 4 years only will be for the northern flank of the PDP and the associates like El-Rufai and Koda that are disgruntled now to zero in now on a southern alternative to Tinubu. And in doing this, they should perform the miracle of the North for the first time, mobilizing massive support for the Southeast. And not the Southeast, but zero down to that person who has shown capacity and who has been going around to ingratiate himself with northern Nigeria.
I'm talking about Peter
on the basis of moral suasion of justice and equity for the Southeast, Nigerians can now form a strong support base that can make a tectonic shift to challenge the Tinubu presidency and revive the PDP in the process. If the North insists on bringing a northerner to challenge Tinubu, Tinubu will win the next election. At least a prediction. He will win the next election by whatever means possible, and it will be legitimized on the basis that Nigeria cannot be a hegemony of the northern political establishment.
Okay, Mr. Dahiru, thank you so much for that. I think I have to also make sure I take up some royalties from that money that my co-anchor would be getting for his advice that he'll be giving the opposition party. Well, we appreciate your submissions this morning. Newspaper columnist and public affairs analyst, thank you for joining us on The Morning Show.